How Benjamin Sesko will fit in at Manchester United. Not Newcastle United, Manchester United. We'll look at starting 11, formation, tactics, relationships with his teammates, and of course, all the good statistics. If you're new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video. But anyway, let's get this party started. So Benjamin Sesko, of course, for Manchester United, will play as a number 9. He really completes Manchester United's front three with Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. That is a proper front three for this system and structure. Manchester United last season didn't score enough league goals. That was their biggest problem. They've entered the market. They've bought Cunha, Sesko and Mbeumo. I still can't believe that I am awake right now saying that to you wonderful people on YouTube. And here's a stat to kick off today. Sesko, Mbeumo and Cunha scored more goals across all competitions last season than the front threes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City and Spurs. Well, first and foremost, this front three is a proper front three. This is what you'd expect in a 3-4-3 structure. Think Atalanta or Leverkusen. Having United's front three closer together to lean on Sesko's technical skills and to operate as a focal point is going to be really important for United. That, of course, is firing passes into the feet of the Slovenian, then him laying the ball off and allowing his teammates to really make things happen in the final third. But also in a sense of in the penalty area opens up a new kind of game for Manchester United. Considering, let's say, United are going to face a lot of low blocks next season, they need players that have got the ability in this zone. One of the things I like about Benjamin Sesko in this area is he's very aware of where his teammates are, which could lead to certain moments of United firing the ball into the feet of Sesko, him operating a little layoff for players like Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha to accelerate onto the ball to score goals. Just like this assist against Heidenheim in the Bundesliga for Lewis Openda. A lovely little touch from Sesko to allow the Belgium striker to fire home. Manchester United didn't score enough goals. Adding variation into their front three, but also having them in close proximity is going to be vitally important for them to push up the Premier League. Right, now let's start diving into the relationships that Sesko could have with his teammates, starting on the right-hand side. One of the things I'm really excited about Manchester United is now they've got two proper goal scorers in their forward line, in of course Benjamin Sesko and Bryan Mbeumo. Two players that like making runs in behind defences. This sounds so simple, but United have been so flat for the last 5 years. The amount of time that I'm about to lob my TV remote at my TV when watching United's attackers stand on the back line and not make any runs or not drop off, just lost count. But with United's new look front three, this is a big thing. One of the things I'd like to see United do a lot is have Bruno Fernandes in this roaming playmaking role, looking quite direct in behind the defence, knowing that on the right-hand side of the attack, there is a lot of pace. That being Bryan Mbeumo to get in between the opposition centre-half and full-back, and obviously Sesko to take that really direct option through the middle. But let's focus on that kind of pass to Bryan Mbeumo first, because I think this is an area where United could start really unlocking the door. Previously, let's say Benjamin Sesko wasn't signed for Manchester United, let's throw a Joshua Zirkzee into here. Joshua Zirkzee is going to be more of a player that's going to drop off the line. Again, I like the variation United have now got. They've got a proper advanced forward in Benjamin Sesko and a proper deep line forward in Joshua Zirkzee dropping off the line. The passes they expect him to receive is more into feet, and then potentially he could get himself turned and then look to fire that ball. The issue becomes in that second movement. Due to Joshua Zirkzee, he doesn't really have the pace to get into the box. It's probably going to be down to the likes of Matheus Cunha to arrive late, or Joshua Zirkzee to attack that penalty spot, versus someone like Benjamin Sesko that not only has a capability and the technical ability to come off the line and receive into feet. One thing that I really like about Sesko is he has these double movements where he'll try and spin in behind the defence. If the pass doesn't come, he'll try and drop off, or he'll try and pretend that he's going to run in behind before dropping off. But I think with Sesko in these positions, he can receive, potentially play that pass from Mbeumo in behind, but he's got the pace to attack the ball. But let's take a look at Mbeumo doing this for Brentford, assisting Johan Visser. So we pick up the play with Newcastle playing inside. We've got Mbeumo highlighted top of shot. What I want you to notice about this is how penetrative the run is from Mbeumo. He stays in a very high position, and there's something United really need. So as Newcastle look back through midfield, they play a ball across the centre of the park that Damsgaard intercepts. He jumps in, grabs the ball, drives through the middle, little nutmeg on on Bruno Guimaraes, and he's into the final third. But this type of penetration, I don't think we saw enough of United under Ruben Amorim. Now with this new look front three, with Mbeumo on the right-hand side, we can see these types of passes being played. Byron Mbeumo in behind the defence, simple ball across to Johan Visser to score. That type of play United weren't doing last season. It is super simple. United have got enough good passes in central midfield and defence to find the ball in behind a back three or back five or back four to find that pass across. And Sesko has got that pace to make it happen. And of course, we've got a great example coming against Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Just watch Sesko move. He goes outside, then he attacks inside. But anyway, that's a little bit later on. So of course, Leipzig win a second ball following their goalkeeper punting it into midfield, and Benjamin Hendricks has got it in a right wing back position. Lewis Openda isn't quite making a run behind the defence, but he's sat high on the defender, pinning him. From this, he steps over the ball and is instantly behind the Bayern Munich backline. Just notice Sesko's movement here, I quite like it. First, he goes on the outside, on the blind side of the defender, before making the move back across. Openda finds him with a low cross. Easy tap in for Benjamin Sesko. This is a goal that I think United could definitely replicate with Bryan Mbeumo potentially playing in a higher position. You know, let's say it's not a run in behind the defence, but it's him up against a fullback, pinning him. Let's say Lenny Yoro is the guy in possession. He finds that pass, and Mbeumo can step over the ball. Similar thing can happen. Low cross into the box, Benjamin Sesko to tap in. This is something that United need to work on. Those types of passes, those types of balls, because it's something that Mbeumo has done effectively and something that Sesko has done very effectively in the Bundesliga. But just looking at that same type of pass from right centre-back into the feet of Mbeumo, pinning his fullback. Mbeumo is deceptively strong, got a really good low centre of gravity, so he's good at holding up the ball. But other situations that I'd like to see happening from the pair, of course, is Bryan Mbeumo operating as maybe a natural winger, driving wide, and then coming back and then looking for a pass on the reverse to Benjamin Sesko. This is something that Mbeumo would do for Brentford, and there was a great goal against Bournemouth that Johan Visser scored. He finished high across the goalkeeper. One of the areas that Sesko does need to improve is his finishing on the right-hand side of the box. For me, he needs to go with power in all of his finishes. Not side foots, but fully firing the ball into that high corner if this is the type of situation that United have created. Mbeumo holding up the ball, driving, cutting back, reverse ball, Sesko high finish. Recipe for success for Manchester United on their right-hand side. And of course, the final thing to discuss when talking about the pair is corners. Bryan Mbeumo is good at corners. Benjamin Sesko is good at jumping. Take this corner from Mbeumo to Johan Visser in the centre of the box. Great ball in, good jump from Visser, easy goal for Brentford. We flip that to Benjamin Sesko in the Bundesliga. David Raum, a left-footed taker, whipping the ball into the box. Sesko leaping above everyone, getting really good hang time, heading the ball home. A big strength of Sesko is his heading. He is 6'5". He is rapid. He's got everything to be a truly complete forward in the Premier League. A lot of people have been likening him to Zlatan Ibrahimovic because of his technical ability and his finishing. And that's something that I could see United really build on, grow him into their own Zlatan. Right, that's enough of the right wing. Let's move to the more creative left wing, where Manchester United are more than likely to funnel a lot of their attacks down. Given that Matheus Cunha is probably going to be operating as a playmaker. He's a guy that wants to get on the ball. I love what I've seen from him so far at United. But one thing he will do with Benjamin Sesko is combine with him. Both of them are very, very good footballers in that environment. They're very good, like, one-touch players. They understand where their teammates are, and it should be where United can create a lot of opportunities. So let's say Heaven firing to the feet of Cunha, and then Cunha making something happen. But first and foremost, let's actually focus on him being in the wide area, because Matheus Cunha at times does drift out wide, so expect him to take up wide positions, potentially with Dorgu inside. One of the big things we mentioned with Dorgu when he signed for Manchester United, young player, needs time. But the second thing that we mentioned, he's very good at attacking the box. He's a good goal scorer in those kind of positions. So taking these inside positions will come very natural to Dorgu in this United team. But just focusing on Cunha on the ball, Sesko's a forward that likes to drift over to either sides to kind of support the play, exactly what you want, which could potentially see Dorgu in even more of an aggressive position with Bryan Mbeumo. But the combo between the pairing out on the left-hand side for Manchester United could be another method again for United to score more goals, with Sesko arriving late to apply the finish. And of course, we've got a great example of Sesko doing this in the Bundesliga, combining with Xavi Simons. So we pick up the play with Leipzig, building out from the back. They're going to go quite direct into Sesko, and the Frankfurt defender's going to win it. Simons is going to jump on the ball, and now we've got this type of situation we're talking about. Sesko drifting to a wide area, combining with a creative dribbling forward. This will be similar to what Matheus Cunha will bring to Manchester United. What I like about this is that they're really dominating the left-hand side. Sesko's overloading the opposition's structure with that movement to the channel. You know, he's overloaded the fullback, so Xavi Simons simply finds that pass around it. Sesko's got great ability when carrying. He's quick, but he's also powerful, and he's got the capacity to carry over long distances, something that Manchester United have lacked in their midfield, in their defence, and in their forward line. And again, getting into the final third, now we see a little bit of magic between the pairing. First up, Sesko cutting inside, again taking another defender out the game, shipping the ball to Xavi Simons, who goes back on the outside before shifting on the inside and finding Sesko with a brilliant reverse ball. The first touch from Sesko here is fantastic. That little Cruyff is brilliant. Draws the defender in before facing him up. He potentially could find the far corner, but he doesn't. Decides to dribble the defender, and then again could look for the far corner before beating the goalkeeper back on the inside. Simple tap in with his left foot. That finish is absolutely fantastic. The touch is great, kind of showing the defender that he's going to finish before faking that on the inside, and then faking the goalkeeper again is great finishing and a real good starting point for Benjamin Sesko. So we've spoken about the right wing, we've spoken about the left wing, now let's focus on the centre. Manchester United should be better with Benjamin Sesko as the number 9, threatening him behind at times, dropping off the line at times, but being a menace, pinning the opposition's back four. The big thing for Manchester United under Ruben Amorim, something we saw at the back end of last season, is the moving to more of a 3-6-1 against certain teams to get an extra attacker in between the lines. This is going to be important in the Premier League because of a few things. First and foremost, teams play back fives in the league already, but other teams have started dropping players. Unai Emery's Villa like to drop one of the wingers into the back line. Other teams drop 8s into the back line or 6s to create a back 5. So United are going to be facing teams that could be defending with 5 defenders, which means they need to overload the opposition shape by throwing another midfielder high. Amorim's shape and structure for this is the 3-6-1 we mentioned, the 2 wing backs in high areas, and then the kind of band of 3 behind Benjamin Sesko of Cunha and Mbeumo and Fernandes. This looks absolutely fantastic. That's a lot of creativity in between the lines. This is something that Manchester United have lacked for a bit. That type of front four with players in there that can really dominate in short and tight spaces. What I like about Benjamin Sesko, not only has he got that kind of idea in his game to kind of spin in behind or constantly be or pin, but he also will make double movements, as we mentioned previously, to receive balls into feet. Again, United are now in between the lines with a very dangerous 4 players plus 2 wide players. That's quite exciting. I'm laughing about it, but it's quite exciting. Alternatively, if United can kind of play through the thirds into one of their attacking midfielders and then use Sesko to maybe bounce off or combine with flicks and then find the bit of creativity, it's another area for United to really open up the opposition. It's giving them another part of the toolkit, which it just didn't feel like they had last season. To take this goal against Union Berlin in the Bundesliga, what I like about this is it's a similar structure that Manchester United will be set up in. We can clearly see Leipzig's back 3, sole holding midfielder. We can see quite a narrow 3 in there, kind of a little bit right-sided with a wing back on the side, and of course David Raum is going to move into a more advanced area. The ball's really good into the feet of Dani Olmo. This is again the 23-24 season. We're going back looking at Benjamin Sesko. We don't just look at this season, we look at previous goals, previous assists he's got. But anyway, back to the footage. The ball into the feet of Dani Olmo is fantastic. But the link here is really good because the pressure's quite good from Union Berlin. Dani Olmo instantly needs to drop the ball forward. The flick here is fantastic. And again, we spoke about that Zlatan Ibrahimovic comparison. This is something that Zlatan would do. A little flick outside of his feet, back into the box. The ball from Dani Olmo is really good. Lovely little dink. And you're thinking he's going to smash it on the volley, right? Goes with his head, which is a brilliant finish and a fantastic goal. And that's something I like about Benjamin Sesko. He's not afraid of using his head in any moment. It gives him such a weapon in the final third. So going back to that kind of example with United, with the 6 playing forward into the feet of one of the 310s, the little bit of combination play, Bruno getting back on the ball, and then that ball over the top for Benjamin Sesko to finish off himself. And that's something United could do again in the final third. There is so many different things that this striker brings because of his size, his height, and his ability in the air. And that gives United great variance in the final third to create chances. Let's take games where United are more in their kind of 3-2-5 structure with Bruno Fernandes deep in midfield. One of the big things that Sesko will give him an option all the time is to run in behind the defence. This is something that United haven't really done. You're thinking with Bruno in the team, Anthony Martial was a player that liked to receive to feet. Bruno Fernandes looked for more wide players running in behind. But with Sesko in there's a real direct ball through the middle. Again, really simple football, but something that United could add to their side. And it's something that, again, Leipzig used. That central ball straight through the middle to find Benjamin Sesko in behind. Got an example against Eintracht Frankfurt. Again, Leipzig on a little bit of a counter-attacking situation. They find the Pender out wide. We've got Sesko highlighted in the centre of the pitch. It's a really simple bit of play. Pender comes back inside, looks for Xavi Simons, who attempts to go inside, and it's blocked and it bounces into midfield. Svaiveld breaks onto the ball, and there's an instant ball through the defence. I love how the move is already being made. See, Sesko at the moment is to the right side of the defender. He comes across the defender and runs him into the channel, into the space between the two centre-backs for Eintracht Frankfurt. The first touch is really good, but potentially could be better. It could set himself up to going forward and running directly on goal. But I do think the pass is a little bit behind him to give him a little bit of defence in this moment. But from this position, you're thinking, it's not really in that much of a dangerous area. And then bang, he just smashes it into the back of the net. And that's something that Sesko's got. Ball striking, we spoke about previously. He is elite level in terms of ball striking. And if he keeps working on the ball striking side of things, this is going to be a weapon for Manchester United. Because again, it's not the perfect bit of play as a centre forward. We could have potentially seen him take a good first touch and instantly get behind the opposition's defence. But again, that touch comes across him. He goes back across the defender. And then the shot from outside the box is an absolute banger. Something to add to Amorim's weapons in the final third is Sesko's long-range shooting. Just going to catch out some Premier League defences. I can already feel it right now. And even if he struggles with the physicality and speed of the Premier League, his ability to strike the ball with such power means he'll still be a significant goal threat. See this goal against Werder Bremen. Another banger from range. Sesko has consistently overperformed his expected goals, which has largely come from his bangers from range. Another unique trait amongst elite strikers. And Sesko just needs to focus on finishing with power. He's a good goal scorer when he has less time to think. Take his goal against Frankfurt we mentioned earlier. But he can miss big chances, notably 1v1s. He tries to be too precise with his side foot finishes and he telegraphs it for the goalkeeper. He's had some big misses, like this notable one against Portugal at Euro 2024. But Sesko is not a lost cause. He's only 22 years old, and this can easily be fixed by switching his default finish when 1v1 to power, which suits his ball striking, or with better coaching, which Amorim should provide. In fact, Victor Gyökeres has a similar power-first finish approach, and his output skyrocketed after Amorim's influence. Sesko will hope the United boss can do the same for him. But this isn't a massive issue, considering Sesko only missed 18 big chances over the past 2 seasons. 5 Premier League players missed more big chances last season alone. And the last thing I want to talk about today is the threat that Sesko will bring from crosses. Sesko in the Bundesliga scored 8 goals from 28 headed shots at a conversion rate of 29%, better than the likes of Erling Haaland, Alexander Isak, Victor Gyökeres and Harry Kane managed in that period. United need to get the ball into the box. And one of the players I'm really excited to see this season, of course, is Dorgu, a player that we really like. A player that already looks like he's improved. He needed time to adjust to the Premier League, and I think he's already there. One of the things that I've seen in pre-season that I enjoyed was that cross to Rasmus Højlund into the penalty area after cutting in onto his weaker right foot. If he can give Benjamin Sesko that type of delivery, that's goals for Manchester United. When you consider that Dorgu crossed the ball more per 90 from open play than any other Manchester United player last season, that work on the left-hand side is going to be vitally important to getting the best out of Benjamin Sesko, carrying into the final third and then delivering the ball into the box. But I think one of the big things with Patrick Dorgu is his delivery needs to be more consistent. He needs a stock delivery. But I do think with someone like Benjamin Sesko, because of his height and his ability in the air, just simply hanging up the ball to the back post is absolutely what needs to happen. That's an area where Manchester United can overload the opposition's defence, but also it gives time to allow Sesko to jump, use that incredible jump reach he's got, get up and head the ball in. Clipping the ball to the back stick needs to be Dorgu's default cross from the left-hand side. And just to show you an example of exactly what I mean in terms of hanging the ball up for Benjamin Sesko on the back post, here's David Raum doing it for RB Leipzig. The ball's worked out to him, a good first touch. You can see Sesko has made a run on the inside, now he's going to go on the outside of the defender. The ball's hung up to that back post, and Sesko heads it back across the goalkeeper to give Leipzig the lead. A brilliant, brilliant goal. And that's something that I want to see for Manchester United. Dorgu getting wide, hanging the ball up. Again, with the likes of Brian Mbeumo and Amad Diallo on this right wing, we could see a lot of inverted balls. That being, clipped into the box for Sesko, or alternatively, Brian Mbeumo using his dribbling style to get to the byline and then cross the ball from that type of position. We saw him do that for Brentford last season. And that came against Tottenham Hotspur. What I like about Mbeumo is he's not afraid to go on the outside, but his feinty style is really good in the Premier League. First checking into that left foot, then checking back onto the right foot, once again feinting the cross on the right foot, driving to the byline, dinking it in with his weaker foot to Johan Visser in the centre. Again, we've seen Benjamin Sesko jump like that in this video today, but he misses. Benjamin Sesko's got a much better conversion rate than Johan Visser. Again, a recipe for success for Manchester United. Overall, I think Sesko is one for the future. Even with just a 6 out of 10 for current ability, I still think he's an upgrade on Højlund Xerxes, but potentially could be the best 9 in the world. The finances aren't great, but when you compare Sesko to the valuations of Nicholas Jackson or Darwin Núñez, Sesko seems in line with the market. In terms of fit, tactically it's solid. He fits what Amorim wants, but he needs to improve his quality. Sesko is well suited to the Premier League. He doesn't play up against the centre-backs, so the step up in physicality shouldn't massively hamper his playing style. He's quick, but he isn't a running behind 1v1 merchant. Sesko is also great in the air, which tends to translate across other leagues. In fact, Erling Haaland was notoriously poor with his head at Dortmund, scoring just 5 goals in 3 seasons. He actually scored more goals in his first season in the Premier League than his entire time at Dortmund combined. Overall, I'm going to give this deal 3.5 stars out of 5. Long term, I think Sesko will be great, and it's just about his development in the short term. But anyway, guys, what do you think of Sesko at Manchester United? Are you excited now for the new season? Because I tell you what, I finally am! Let's get this party started. Get in the comments below, how many goals will Sesko score for Man United in his debut season in all competitions? We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?